Hey everyone.
Hi, I'm Evie Mackey, but my friends call me Ellie, and I am an author. Most of you know, but an author is a person who writes a book.
Hi, I'm CK Mackey. My friends call me CK, and I'm an illustrator. An illustrator is someone who creates art or images for books.
And today we want to share with you a book that we made together called A is for Abstract. A is for Abstract, the Creative Kids Colorful Alphabet Book of Animal Rhymes by E.B. and C.K. Mackey.
Mackey. A is for abstract, and U for unique. This earth as creatures, every color you seek. Spots and stripes, feathers and scales, from big pointy horns to long furry tails. Each species is different, each kind to its own, but one thing's the same, it's this place we call home.
A is for aardvark that ambles about, snorting up ants with its long, active snout.
B is for buffalo with big bushy manes, blundering about in herds on the plains.
C is for chameleon, a camouflage chap. If scared, his color will change in a snap.
D is for dingo, a dashing dog in a pack, hunting and stalking its dinner time snack.
E is for elephant, an enormous sweet chunk, eating and drinking with her elongated trunk.
F is for fennec, a fun furry fox, focusing ears to find bugs under rocks.
G is for giraffe, grazing tops of high trees. So gangly and tall, she grabs all she sees.
H is for hare, nibbling all day. With springy hind legs, he hops quickly away.
I is for iguana, with a scaly spiked coat, ingesting leafy greens down his long hanging throat.
J is for jaguar, and the jungle's his home. Hunting and jumping, he's free to just roam.
K is for koala, who's cuddly and cute, climbing up trees for a green leafy shoot.
L is for lemur, who is fun without fail, leaping about with its long lanky tail.
M is for macaw, mighty master of flight. But look out for his powerful beak and his bite.
N is for Nyandu, a native bird of Peru, a lot like an ostrich you'll see in a zoo.
O is for orangutan, with its oval face shapes and outstanding intelligence amongst all the apes.
Is for panda with black pouty eyes, eating the growing bamboo that she spies.
Q is for quail, a shy, quiet bird, scuttling away with each sound that is heard.
R is for rhino with a long pointed horn. Her thick armored skin can't be pierced by a thorn.
S is for sloth, slowly smiling away, sometimes not moving a single foot in a day.
T is for tortoise, terrific and bold. Time marches on as he grows steadily old.
U is for Uriel, who upwards climbs high, but he might knock his horns with a male passing by.
V is for Vicuña, a llama's little cousin, dotting the Andes in herds by the dozen.
W is for Wombat, a wobbling round fellow, nibbling and munching, he's gentle and mellow.
X is for Xerus, an African squirrel, exploring and excavating his underground world.
Y is for Yak, on high yonder hills, with a thick woolly coat to keep out the chills.
Z is for Zebra, our stripedy friend, and of course the animal who comes at the end.
A is for abstract, and U for unique. This planet has life in every corner you peek. We share this earth, skies, planet, and seas. Let's all take care of it for them, you, and me. The end. We hope you guys liked our book. We have a few questions that your school has sent in to us that we'd like to answer. I'm sorry we can't be there in person, but we're honored to be part of your literacy night. So we'll go to some questions now. Okay, thank you for listening to our book. Now we want to take some time to answer a few questions that your school sent in to us. And I want to start with a question from Mr. Mackey that was sent in by Miss Jacobs, our second grade teacher. Miss Jacobs asked, are you inspired by Pablo Picasso?
That's a great question, Miss Jacobs. Thank you. Pablo Picasso, yes and no. Yes, in that he was a pioneer. It was a fantastic era with a bunch of amazing artists at the time, but I think he was the one who was pushing the limits and creating, a different way of art. But with regards to inspiration for my art, and where I got ideas from, and what really stood out for me was an artist called Jean Miro. And if you do look up his artwork, you'll find that he used really bold shapes, colors, lots of primary colors. I must admit it's hard to kind of decipher or figure out what he's painting, but for me it was the colors and the shapes that really stood out and inspired me to create get into really the abstract side of things.
What makes Jean Miro and Pablo Picasso both abstract artists when their art is so different? What makes you an abstract artist when your art is so different from anyone else?
Well, abstract art, if we look at the definition of it, I think this will help describe things. This is from the Tate Gallery of London. It's a very famous gallery with some amazing artists such as Picasso and Miro, Kandinsky, all those kind of amazing artists. This is what this tells about abstract art. Abstract art is art that does not attempt to represent an accurate depiction of a visual reality, but instead uses shapes, colors, forms, and gestural marks to achieve its effect. So that is from the Tate Gallery of London.
Now, if you look at the artwork in A is for abstract, you'll see that you can easily tell which animal these are immediately by looking at them. But I don't know about you, I've never seen a giraffe this color before, or a hare, but you instantly know what it is. And that's what makes it abstract.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mackey's used, just like the definition, color, shapes, forms, to get an effect that creates an abstract visual effect. And so that definition is broad. Same, you could use that same definition for Picasso,
Mm-hmm.
Miro, Kandinsky, Mackie.
Yeah. Uh, Jackson Pollock was also an abstract artist. He was an abstract expressionist. So he would express himself by basically throwing and splashing paintings on the canvas.
But this is kind of what brings about what is abstract art and who you were inspired by.
Hmm. Those bold black lines, especially, is like a signature trademark of what Jean Miro would have done with his artwork.
Right? Question.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have one more for you from Ariana in 6th grade. She asked, what inspired you to make an abstract book?
Thank you, Ariana. Another great question. Well, I was already creating abstract animals, and we can take a look at those images, the early ones that I did of cats and dogs and things like that. But the idea actually came from Ellie. You want to talk about that?
Well, it is true. The art in the book was my idea. Um, but Mr. Mackey's been working on abstract animals that were a little more loose, or you'd almost say like a abstract,
Yeah.
cartoony.
When you look at the ones in the book and you can see the realistic outline, well, in the early days, when it was 12 years ago when I started doing the abstract animals, they were not as recognizable. They were actually very more abstract than they are
Yeah.
in the book.
And one day when we were talking, I don't even know how exactly it came up, but I said, what if we made a book of realistic wildlife and you drew it just like it was a real animal, but you put those same abstract
Mm,
patterns and colors on top of it. And we were both a little unsure about it,
yeah,
and we're like, well, okay, let's try one.
let's give it a go. And the first one is the first animal in the book, and that's Artie the Aardvark.
Where is he?
And we can show you this now.
Here, this was the very first one you ever did. This one right here.
Yeah.
And pretty much as soon as we both saw the painting finished, we were like, yes.
There's something there. We have to like follow through on this and do more of them.
And so this first image was actually the birth of the book.
The book, yeah.
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 So that is how we together came up with making an
The
abstract
inspiration
book.
for the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the title, we were just calling it abstract for a while because we didn't have a title. And then it kind of turned into A is for abstract.
And at first, it was just going to be an A through Z book of like A is for Aardvark and B is for Buffalo. But it wasn't until you went to, was it a writers' conference?
Yep.
Yeah, that she was inspired from the feedback of the other writers in the conference to be able to create poetry and rhymes for the book.
Yeah.
Which didn't take that long, actually, did it?
No. So, well, that leads into the next question here. The next question is by Maya in 3rd grade. And she asked, how long did it take to write this book? So, yeah, like Mr. Mackey said, it didn't take me that long to actually write the book. But for the longest time, I didn't write the book. I thought it was just going to be an A through Z book. The original, the very first one we did, the pages just said A is for Aardvark, B is for Buffalo. And the artwork was so fantastic. And the design, we were really excited about it. And I kind of thought it was finished. I was satisfied with it. But I went to a writers' conference and we were in a group with other children's book writers and giving each other feedback and brainstorming together. And I asked if somebody would read my book to me, like if I was sitting in a library listening to my librarian read. And they did, and as soon as they started reading it, my heart kind of sunk because I just instantly felt, ooh, that's not finished. I don't like it like that. But I didn't quite know how to do it because I didn't want to have this amazing artwork
Mm-hmm.
and facts about animals, like an aardvark is from blah blah. I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted it to flow with the same kind of fun excitement that the artwork has. So I left that meeting
Mm-hmm.
feeling rather discouraged because here I went into it thinking we finished this book, and I left it feeling like I don't like that at all. I can't do it. And I went to bed. I tried to go to bed, and I was thinking and thinking of how I would write this, and I couldn't think of anything. So it was about 11 o'clock at night. I laid down. I was so tired from traveling all day and being in meetings all day. And I laid down, closed my eyes, turned off the lights, and oh man, I gotta wake up, get out paper, and write this down because the very first rhyme for aardvark came to my head.
The floodgates opened.
A is for aardvark that ambles about, snorting up ants with his long, active snout. It came just like that, like in about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh shoot, I better write that down. So I got up and I wrote it down. I went back to bed so tired. 2 minutes later, boom, the next one pops into my head. And the next, and the next. And it was like that until about 3:30 a.m. I didn't get any sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, practically another
Yeah.
rhyme popped into my head. So the truth is, it only took me from about 11 o'clock at night till 3 in the morning to write the entire book. The longer truth is, it took us a few years
Yeah.
to get this finished.
The idea came about. It was 6 years, wasn't it?
Yep.
And we figured out from your idea to asking me about the A's for abstract to 6 years later when we finally got everything
Finished,
finished
published.
and had the hard copy in our hands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6 years.
6 years.
So anywhere from a couple of hours
Uh,
to 6 years.
yeah, on and off. It was 6 years, but I mean, just the illustrations didn't take me that long either. It might seem a long time, but I think it was 36 illustrations in like 30 something days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much an
yeah.
illustration a day.
So we had everything done, but the hard part came when we had to. You did all this, the concept and design, and
Yeah,
putting it all together and finding, a publisher and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, we just persevered. And, 6 years later, we had it in our
Through
hands.
it. Yeah. And let's see. Our friend, Sammy, in second grade, asked, "How do we know about all of these animals?"
Okay.
That's a good
Another
question.
good question. Thanks, Sammy. Well, we knew about some of them, but not all of them. Obviously, there's some really unique animals in there. For example, Xerus, Nyandu,
Vicuña,
Vicuña.
wombat.
Yeah, interesting ones. So we had to do our own research on those.
When we work on a book together, pretty much every single morning, really, we like to go get an early cup of coffee, bring a notebook, and brainstorm and write down our ideas together.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of our books, every single page is talked about and worked together in detail. There's nothing that I do on the computer or you do on paper that we don't work out together. And so coming up with all these animals and learning about them, Sammy, same thing. We sat down with paper, we wrote the alphabet out, and sometimes we had 3 or 4 animals for a letter.
Yeah.
Do we want an aardvark, an anteater? Do we want a cobra, a chameleon? We had all these different animals.
We even had a yabby in there. If you don't know what a yabby is, it's like a crayfish
in
in
Australia.
Australia. So that they actually did the illustration and everything, but that got put aside and we replaced it, didn't we?
Yeah. So we work on all of these things together. We brainstorm, and then for the ones that we were stuck on, like X and V, and the harder ones, we went to the internet and we typed in animals that start with an X. And most of them were either scary looking or ugly. But
So
Aziris is
we
quite cute.
went for the cute ones, didn't we?
So we learned about them, and I had to learn about them to be able to write a poem. I had to know what they're about.
Where they lived, what they ate,
Mhm.
all that, fun stuff.
And the good thing is that we love animals.
Mm-hmm.
We love animals, we love art, and we love books, and we love kids. So this book really was all the things that we love to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also really love the conservation message behind it. About looking after the animals and the planet, which was a nice message in there.
Yeah. Well, we do all share it. We all live on this earth together. That's what we have in common with every living thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all of our responsibility to take care of it. So the last question is from our friend Heavenly in first grade. And she wrote, "How did you make this book?"
Another great question, Heavenly. Well, a lot of persevering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, lots of creativity, researching. Um, it was a big learning curve, wasn't it? It was stuff we didn't even know about. About publishing a book. I mean, you might be able to go more into that because you put all the book together and the idea and the concept and everything.
Yeah. So we've kind of talked about some of these things already, where we first got the idea from and Mr. Mackey's first try at the aardvark. But once we decided to move on with it, the next thing that I needed to do was lay out the book and count the pages because there's important parts to a book. Like you have cover, you have a jacket, actually, a book jacket, which is different art and layout than the cover. You have end pages, which are very important because they glue in all these center pages of the book. So you have the center pages and another end page. So there's all these important things that you have to lay out properly before you get started. So I had to lay out the book. We did a lot of brainstorming on talking on each page. Mr. Mackey would always draw me out a sketch before he would draw the whole thing. And I would sometimes say, well, I usually say something like, "Can you make that ear bigger? Can you move his paw?
Yeah.
Can you make this look a little cuter?" So we go back and forth on the art. The next part is painting the art. And I don't know if you
Here we
noticed,
have some originals for you on the wall.
you guys are the very first people to ever see these because he just painted them. These are for our next book, and we've been working on it all month long here in New Mexico. We're actually in our RV home in New Mexico, and we're making this new book. So you guys are the very first to see this is the process of making the book.
So this is would be like a double spread here. So this would be one page, and this would be another page. So you can imagine the spine or the center line going down the middle there. And we'll just give you an example on the book. So here, there's the center line of the spine. It would be somewhere around here.
Because this is a different layout and a different style of this book. So the same process we did with this book, we're repeating again right now. And so as we lay out the art and sketch it, Mr. Mackey starts painting. That's a long process. And as he paints, pretty much you finish an illustration every day.
A day, yeah.
So as he finishes an illustration, I take it, I photograph it, I work on it on my computer, adjusting little colors and making sure the crayon marks and these things show up. And then I go in and I add the writing and the text and adjust it. And there's a lot that I had to learn how to do it. That you have to have certain computer templates and programs to be able to make it just right so that you can send them to the printer and the printer can print it exactly how it's supposed to be. So I spent a long time learning that when I made this book. But luckily, when we're not good at something yet, we can work on it and persevere and
And
learn,
practice. Yeah.
practice, and oh, you guys,
I don't even get these right sometimes.
no, sometimes you have
There's a
to
lot of
repaint.
mistakes.
Yeah,
So I have to repaint stuff. So,
I made so many mistakes making this book, didn't I? Like
practice makes progress.
progress. Practice makes progress. And I'm doing a lot better with this next book, but it's not perfect. But I've learned a lot from the first time. And I keep working on it. So Mr. Mackey gives me the illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
I work on it on the computer and we start to put it together. Like I said, everything that we do, we work on and talk about together. So
Yeah.
I show him what I've worked on. He'll say, well, what if we move those letters over? Or what if we put this here?
Yeah.
And we work on that design. And once the design is finished and the pages are done, it's really important to have it go to editors and other people to look at it to make sure you haven't made a mistake. There's not spelling or missing letters. Because sometimes when you work on something for a long time, your eyes can't see it anymore. They
You
can't
need
see the
another set of
mistakes.
eyes to look at it.
Yeah.
A few sets of eyes to look
Mm-hmm.
at it.
So then we send the book to editors who happen to be very good friends of ours who are teachers,
Mm-hmm.
librarians,
Yep.
English majors, and they are fantastic and they catch all the little things that we didn't catch.
Yep.
And then when that's done, we send it to the printers
Yep.
and the publisher. And a few
And
months later,
they send us a proof back, don't
they
they?
do.
First, yeah.
They send us proof practice pages before they print the whole thing that we have to approve. It's almost like the book is printed on newspaper, but they're in order with the right fold marks.
Yeah. What's the name for it again?
Can't remember.
It's okay. I knew there was a special name for it, but I was
And
like
I
trying to
can't
think of it.
remember. But they send you those, and then a few months later, once everything is approved, your books are in your hand, and it's a really exciting moment.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's a proud moment, when you come up with an idea and you take it through to this thing you can hold in your hand and be very proud of, So, yeah, it was a great adventure. It was a great journey. It was a steep learning curve, but we got there.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
And we're still having to work, and we still have to keep going to see. We're not at the end yet just because we have a book. We have to keep going on this because this is what we love to do. And we really believe that if there's something that you love to do, and hopefully someone you love to do it with, then you should do that thing and give it all you got with your whole heart.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've tried to do. And I think that's all of our questions we had tonight.
I think so.
Thank you guys
Appreciate
so
you.
much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for all the questions. It was a pleasure to, interact with you via video.
Yeah, we're really far away right now, but we're glad we could be part of your literacy night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.